Good evening and thank you for joining us for KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Mark Hanrahan. Let's get started. And we begin with some breaking news tonight. Spokane Valley Police searching for a man they say is behind a bloody attack at an apartment complex in East Central Spokane. KREM 2's Kyle Simchuk has been on the scene getting the latest information.
We've been talking to a lot of people who live at the Loma Vista apartments, many of them shaken after seeing this man covered in blood, desperate to get some help. Police were called to the apartments around 6 tonight. Spokane Valley Police say the victim lives here. 2 men entered his apartment to get some belongings. Police say when the victim went to grab those items, one of the men started attacking him, hitting him in the head with some type of tool, police say possibly a hammer. The 2 men took off, leaving the injured victim behind. It turns out paramedics were already on scene responding to an unrelated call. Kevin Downey told us he called 911 when his friend started having a medical emergency. Paramedics checked out his friend and they were about to leave when the victim came out of another apartment covered in blood looking for help.
He looked pretty hurt. The neighbor just said, hey, there's somebody really hurt on the back of the ambulance. And it was just a miracle. The ambulance is right there. He was sitting on the back of it. And the paramedics were just right there, so I really hope he lives.
Paramedics rushed the man to the hospital. Meanwhile, Spokane Valley Police and sheriff's deputies surrounded the property searching for those 2 men. We saw the sheriff's helicopter circling overhead and deputies along with a K9 team walking around. Police tell us they're trying to get more information on the suspect and the other man he was with. We still don't know their connection to the victim. And right now, major crimes detectives, they are on scene getting a search warrant to enter the victim's apartment to gather some more evidence. We don't know the extent of that man's injuries or his condition at this hour. Reporting in East Central Spokane, Kyle Simchuk, KREM 2 News.
As part of our Boomtown coverage, we are tracking growth in the inland Northwest, but that growth means homelessness has also gotten worse. Right now, plans are moving forward in Spokane for a new homeless shelter out on East Trent, but some are questioning if it's the best way to tackle the problem. Meanwhile, businesses say they are suffering, and they say they're worried that we could be headed for the same problems Seattle has already experienced. So our Whitney Ward made the trip to Seattle to see firsthand what's working and what isn't.
It's hard not to see the crisis that is homelessness in Seattle. It's along the freeways, under bridges, and camped out on city sidewalks.
As housing prices have just gotten even more out of control, more and more people are homeless. You know, people are being left outside.
So to move people inside and off the streets, one program is finding big success in a small package. Lehigh is Seattle's low-income housing institute. 5.5 years ago, the nonprofit put up 2 tiny homes for a pair of homeless veterans. The concept has since grown to more than 700 tiny homes in 17 villages across the Puget Sound area.
This is actually one of the newer tiny home villages. We're here in the University District of Seattle. I'm told there used to be a rather large tent encampment in this same area, but this has now replaced it. And as you can see, there's blackout fencing along the sidewalk. It would be very easy to walk on by and not even know what's inside. What did you know about a tiny home village before?
I knew that they were here and that they were a place to sleep. And I've learned that they're a lot more than that. And they have like all the tiny homes on one side.
Belky Caicedo has been homeless once before, and she spent time at some of Seattle's biggest shelters. But for the last month and a half, she has lived here in this tiny home community called Rosie's Village.
Where would you have been if you didn't have this as an option?
In the tent outside.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Where would you have gone?
Probably under a bridge, you know, an abandoned house, a porch.
It became really clear that we needed to do something that would be quicker, less expensive, and find a way to protect vulnerable people who are unsheltered or living on the streets.
Sharon Lee is the executive director at Lehigh. She says it's not just about putting a roof over someone's head. Every tiny home village also has 24/7 staffing, indoor laundry, kitchens and bathrooms, and access to services like job counseling and physical and mental health providers.
What makes the tiny home village a better idea than a shelter?
People are able to recover much more quickly over the trauma of being homeless. So we help them with getting their IDs, filling out housing applications, filling out employment applications, Last year, 56% of the people who exited a village got into housing.
So is it meant to be kind of the stepping stone into permanent housing?
Absolutely. It's like a bridge to housing. We have some people that stay only a few weeks. Other people may stay 3 to 6 months.
It has also helped solve the problem of shelter resistance, offering individual privacy, a locking door, and the ability for families or couples to stay together.
This is Pinky.
They even allow pets.
Everyone thinks, oh, why don't you just buy one big tent and put everybody under one big tent? But then you're just asking for trouble.
And are you also potentially still going to be faced with the issue of people who just won't go to a shelter?
That's right. So there are vacancies in many of the congregate shelters, and it's very frustrating. And so people refuse to go. They'll rather just move to another sidewalk, move into another park. And so you haven't addressed that you're ending their homelessness, right? You're just like sweeping them to another location.
It is one of the most persistent challenges homeless advocates face.
And I couldn't tell if you were describing Seattle or Spokane.
Sarah Rankin is a professor at Seattle University's School of Law. She's been researching homelessness since the city declared it a state of emergency in 2015.
You've said in the past that shelters, the big, 100, 200 bed shelters, are one of the least effective tools available to cities.
Yeah.
Do you still agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. Congregate shelters have been studied repeatedly. They have very poor performance rates in terms of making sure that people are exiting to something positive, right? Placements to permanent housing.
It's why she says cities like Spokane need to start focusing more on short-term alternatives as well as long-term housing.
Affordable housing is a big issue. And that is increasingly becoming a problem in places like Spokane and other desirable communities throughout the state.
What do you think a city like Spokane can learn from Seattle's experience so far?
Everybody has to slow down and realize that even if we have different ideas about how to go about this, we have to start from the page that this is a shared problem. Everyone wants homelessness to get better. And the way that first happens is by seeing everybody at the table as a potential partner in making that happen. That is not something that happens in Seattle politics. There's a lot of fighting and posturing.
But Rankin says there are cities who are figuring it out, like Austin, San Diego, and Houston. And she says Spokane can do the same by learning where others have failed.
During our visit here, we spoke with a number of people who are currently experiencing homelessness. And just like in Spokane, many of them are camped out in places like this. This is DOT property. It is right along the side of the freeway. And many of the people who are living here say they feel like it's the only place they can go. They didn't want to talk on camera, but they did tell us that if given a choice of going to a nearby homeless shelter or spending their nights in a tent, they will choose to spend their nights in a tent. And that's why advocates say there is not going to be a quick fix here. Instead, it's going to take a number of long-term solutions to truly fix this problem. In Seattle, Whitney Ward, KREM 2 News.
All right, let's turn to weather now because we still have not seen a 70-degree day yet this year. Chief Meteorologist Jeremy Legoo joining us in the Outdoor Weather Center. And Jeremy, when will we finally see 70 degrees?
Monday. I've got faith in Monday, but right now, it's the power of yet. It's one of my mottos as I head into 2022. And that is, if you haven't done something, that's just yet. You can still do it, and we can still hit that 70-degree high. Right now, we're far from it, 48 degrees and cooling. 47 in Coeur d'Alene, 45 in Sandpoint, and temps already down near 50. We're going to continue to watch those temps drop overnight. Dropping kind of slow right now with a little bit of cloud cover and a little bit of scattered moisture. That up and over the mountains, not as widespread as what forecast models suggest, but still going to squeeze out a couple of flurries. Tomorrow afternoon, it's kind of scattered storms taking us into the day and through it. And then by Saturday, well, it's a similar story. So each and every day we have that chance of a scattered shower, but for now, it's temps falling down to near 30 for us down in the Palouse. It's frost advisories in place in both Washington and Idaho. Coming up, I'll walk you through just how cold we're gonna get, and then we will talk that 70-degree high because it is on the way.
Sounds good, Jeremy. Thank you very much. And that was your KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where you get more news in less time. But don't go to bed just yet. After the break, a second fire in a downtown Spokane apartment building in just over a month. Why firefighters say updates are urgently needed to keep tenants in older buildings safe. We are back in just 90 seconds.
KREM 2's Jeremy Jeremy Legoo is taking the Storm Tracker out for a joyride.
No, I'm not. I'm taking the Storm Tracker to different microclimates around the region. I'll show you the why behind the weather where you live.
The KREM 2 Storm Tracker, sponsored by Finlay Jeep.
What makes Camas Rewards at Northern Quest the best? Easy. It's not just for gaming. Earn points everywhere, like Maslow's Steakhouse and Epic Sports Bar. Or redeem them everywhere for spa days at La Rive, shopping at Windfall, fuel at our Kalispell Chevrons, you name it. No one does rewards quite like this. Plus, sign up now and you could win up to $2,022 in reward play instantly. Camas Rewards at Northern Quest. Yes, the best.
Welcome everyone, I'm Mark Hanrahan. So here's what you need to know in less than... More to every story means just that. News is more than just a headline, right? There is context, there is history, there is so much more that goes into a story. You see him today versus when he came in here. In terms of KREM 2, we become more transparent in how we gather, where we get our information from, how we gather our stories, and why we are covering the stories that we are covering. We've also obtained labor and industry filings from employees. At KREM 2, there really is more to every story.
KREM 2's Jeremy Legoo is taking the Storm Tracker out for a joyride.
No, I'm not. I'm taking the Storm Tracker to different microclimates around the region. I'll show you the why behind the weather where you live.
The KREM 2 Storm Tracker, sponsored by Finlay Jeep.
Well, now to our night beat with a quick look at the day's top stories. For the second time in just over a month, fire crews responded to the Park Tower Apartments in downtown Spokane. Emergency vehicles blocked off Spokane Falls Boulevard for about an hour this morning as firefighters went to work.
We have many tactical challenges with these buildings. One, of course, is life safety. And oftentimes, life safety goes hand in hand with fire suppression. If you remove the fire, the life safety risk goes down.
Spokane Fire Chief Brian Schaefer there says it is common to see older buildings like this one without automatic sprinklers, and that's because at the time they were built, building codes did not require them. But today, automatic sprinklers are required in any newly constructed building. In a recent City Public Safety Committee meeting, Chief Schaefer said an automatic sprinkler system would quickly suppress a fire at the apartment complex and would not require as many firefighters to respond. Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell could stand trial within the next year. This morning they had a hearing regarding when their trial would start. A judge said that a written decision will be announced soon on whether to officially set Vallow's and Daybell's joint trial for the same date, and if that trial will take place in October of this year or in January of 2023. The couple is charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder in the deaths of Vallow's children and Daybell's former wife. The death penalty is being sought for both of them. Former Gonzaga point guard and NBA legend John Stockton has written a letter of support for a Utah woman who was involved in the January 6th Capitol insurrection. The woman, Janet Bueller, was arrested in July of 2021 and has since pleaded guilty to parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building as part of a plea deal. In his letter, Stockton claimed to have spent time with her in social settings and in his own home, saying, quote, "I frankly cannot imagine that Janet would knowingly break the law nor be involved in anything destructive ever," unquote. And that was your Night Beat. To learn more about any of these stories, just text us the word night to 509-448-2000 and we'll send them directly to your phone. Well, COVID cases are once again on the rise all across the country. In fact, federal health leaders recommended a third of the U.S. to mask up again. Meantime, here in Washington, Governor Jay Inslee says he is not planning on announcing any new COVID restrictions, including masks. The vaccine mandate for state employees remains in place. However, the governor says he is considering exemptions for some.
We may make some changes in the near future involving some contractors, frankly, and we're looking at that issue right now. But it's not so much a metric, it's the nature of the disease. We don't want our state employees going to the hospital or dying.
Over in Kootenai County, the housing market looks like it has no plans to slow down. According to the Coeur d'Alene Association of Realtors, the median home price in the county in April rose over $500,000, a 23.6% increase over a year ago, and up nearly $15,000 for March. There are a total of 840 homes that have sold in the county through April. That's a 17.2% decrease, which real estate agents say is due to fewer homes on the market, not shrinking demand.
And coming up after the break, we're going to take you back outside, talk a warmer weather pattern, but Yeah, tomorrow's going to be chilly. Saturday, a little bit cooler, and by Sunday, we're talking temps back near normal. I'll walk you through our weekend warm-up.